The story of Iranian carpet, like Iranian gardens, is intertwined with our today's world from the heart of thousands of years of history. The arrangement of trees, flowers, birds, and Iranian basin gardens all exist in Iranian carpets and are a sign of Iranians' taste and love of nature. Among Iranian carpets, handmade carpets have always been respected by antiquities experts and carpet lovers in the world due to their quality and elegance. The path taken by Iranian carpet has become one with Iranian identity, and now it is part of the history of Iran. In this location, we're now looking at the building of the Carpet Museum of Iran in Tehran, which is part of this history. Many of us do not know that we are observing parts of history when looking at these carpets and their patterns. The exterior structure of the museum resembles a carpet loom. The museum has two main halls. The hall on the first floor has been dedicated to permanent exhibitions, and the one on the second floor is for temporary exhibitions. The Carpet Museum of Iran has over 1,800 carpets, which narrates the story of Iranian carpet from the 9th century AH. But the story of Iranian carpet is older than what is displayed here. To begin this story, we should go to another museum in another city. St. Petersburg was Russia's summer capital during the Tsarist era. A city in the northern part of Russia, a place with the White Nights phenomena. Russia as a country is not more than 5 centuries old. But in the heart of this city, there's a museum which hosts the world's oldest collections. Here is the Heritage Museum, one of the largest museums in the world, which its collection comprise over 3 million art objects, and it's considered the biggest museum in the world in terms of the number of items it keeps in its treasure galleries, from paintings to ancient coins and royal jewelry that belonged to a long time ago. One of the important assets of this museum is this carpet, the Pazyryk rug, the oldest carpet in the world. Pazyryk is the name of the place where this carpet was discovered, a place far from today's large cities in the world. Here is the Pazyryk Valley in the Altai Mountains in Serbia. In the 1300s AH, archaeologists noticed numerous burials in this valley for the first time, which were a sign of human civilization. These burials were located 79 kilometers away from the current border of Mongolia and are now inside Russian territory.
سکایی ها که همون قومی هستن که اونجا زندگی میکنه. همه چیزای مثلا شاهزادگان اینا رو، چیزای با ارزش رو با اون دفع میکردن، از اسبش گرفته تا جواهراتش و شمشیر و غیره.
With more discovery, it was revealed that the inhabitants of this valley were equestrians who migrated from the steppe, who gathered a lot of wealth through selling horses to Iranians, Indians, and Chinese merchants. The great wealth of these tribes is evident from the contents of their graves: delicate Chinese silks, horse decorations, and of course, another case that was discovered 2 decades after finding the burials. Due to World War II, Russia was not able to explore in this valley. Eventually, Russian archaeologist Sergei Rudenko carried out extensive exploration operations in this valley for the first time. 2 years later, some items were found under the archaeological hills in this valley, which showed that the Scythians tribes used this place as a cemetery. The Scythians were one of the ancient Aryan tribes who gradually migrated to the Iranian plateau, but at this time the Scythians still lived near Serbia. They are born here, they grow up, they live, get old, and die. Interesting antiquities have been found in these burials. Antiquities such as mummified bodies, human skeletons, as well as horse, clothes, live objects, hunting tools, and religious objects in saddle. But for carpet scientists, the most important antiquity of this valley was the Pazyryk rug that changed the history of carpet weaving in the world. Until this discovery, it was not known how old the Iranian carpet is. But now, with this discovery, something would change. 3 carpets were discovered in these burials, which one of them is the Pazyryk rug, and today it's kept in the Hermitage Museum. This carpet is more delicate and exquisite compared to the other 2. Prior to the discovery of this rug, the carpet scientists believed carpet weaving was at most 1500 years old. But now Pazyryk was indicative of the existence of carpet weaving in 400 BC.
وقتی که ما راجع به قالی پازریک میایم صحبت میکنیم، یعنی هر جا تو هر کتابی در هر بحث علمی راجع به پازریک که میان صحبت میکنن، بلافاصله تمامی هم و غم و دعواهای علمی که سر میگیره سر این هستش که اقوام مختلف سعی میکنن این قالی رو، این دستبافته خیلی مهم تاریخی رو به خودشون منتسب کنن.
Accurate scientific examinations on this carpet prove that the art weaving knots or interweaving the yarn with the weft to create a pattern, which was later known as carpet weaving, actually has a lifespan of more than 2,400 years. While examining structures and patterns of this carpet, Rudenko discovered a close similarity with sculptures of Persepolis. The similarity was not coincidental, because all the patterns of Pazyryk were indicative of it being Iranian. There are 24 squares in the central field of the Pazyryk rug, with an 8-pointed star in the middle of each. There is a stone platform in Persepolis, in Mavdasht, Fars province, with squares in the center of it similar to those of this carpet. And in the middle of its squares, there's a star similar to that of the Pazyryks. This similarity is the first sign that connects the weavers of the Pazyryk rug in the cold region of the northern hemisphere to Persepolis, in the desert of southern Iran. But there is another clue in Pazyryk, a clue that is even clearer than the first one. In the second row of the Pazyryk rug, there is a pattern of a famous mythical animal known as Griffin or the winged lion. The winged lion was the mythical animal of ancient Iran, which has been seen many times in the discovered antiquities in Iran. A famous example of it is the glazed brick of Apadana Palace with the image of a winged lion. This brick is kept in the Louvre Museum in Paris. The winged lion guardians also show off the pillars of Persepolis.
ایرانی ها به یک شکلی خب ما حقوق خاصی رو برای خودمون در بافت این قالی به لحاظ فرهنگی و تاریخی قائل هستیم. اقوام ترک، اقوامی که در آسیای صغیر زندگی میکنن، منطقه قفقاز زندگی میکنن، ارامنه از یک طرف، یک چالش فکری و علمی همیشه بین این اقوام و حتی پژوهشگران از کشورهای مختلف همیشه در میگیری که بخوام بگن که این فرش بافت کجاست.
Apart from these clues, another clue has also been discovered. In the third row of the Pazyryk rug, the design motifs of antlered deer. In the fourth row, 8 pointed stars. In the fifth row, horsemen. And in the last row again, the winged lions could be seen on it. The important features of the rug's yellow antlered deer is its mottled skin, and the strip that is stretched from the deer's neck to its tail. It is interesting that none of the deer in Altai have this feature. Apart from this, none of the Altai's artifacts do not depict any of these features. But instead, these features are abundantly seen in the ancient artifacts of Iran. To trace this clue, one must travel to different parts of the world, including to the modern city of Tokyo, the capital of Japan, which its Miho Museum has been housing an Iranian antiquity for a long time. The Archimindid golden rhython in Miho Museum of Japan belongs to the 5th to 6th century BC. Rhythons are containers in the shape of trumpets, which their ends are made in the shape of an animal. This rhython clearly shows a Persian fallow deer, a sign that strengthens Pazyryk's rug's connection with Iran. But one should find another trace of this symbolic deer in Paris. The Cessation silver gilt plate is kept in the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, the BNF Museum. Another Cessation plate which has a similar deer pattern has been made of gold, and it is kept in the British Museum of London.
حالی وافی در ایران، یعنی کلن پس وقتی در ایران بعد از دوره هخامنشی در دوره ساسانی هم ادامه پیدا کرد و همینطور تا به امروز. البته بعد خواهیم رسید که یه فصلی هم که چند سال بیشتر حراج نصیب موزه قطر شد که گفتن بعد از پازیریت قدیمی ترین فرشه معلوم شد برخلاف تصور مال دوره ساسانی، اونم مال دوره هخامنشی هست.
The carpets of Safavid era are full of spotted deer whose antlers are as large as the ones in Pazyryk. The trace of this deer in Iranian culture is much more than these. For instance, in this Lori and Kashkai needlework of the last century, antlered deer are placed in a row, same as in the Pazyryk rug. Abundant Iranian examples of this deer makes the connection of the Pazyryk rug with the Iranian plateau stronger. However, there is no trace of this deer left in Iran. The breed of this deer must be from the Eurasian spotted deer with large antlers, which were last seen nearly 2 centuries ago in the northeast of Kazakhstan. But in the year 1336 AH, 2 German zoologists found the last survivors of these deers in the groves near Karkech River. The Germans took these deer to Germany and propagated them there. Now this deer is back to the life cycle with the name of Iranian yellow deer.
هنر ایران به طور کلی اهم از پارچه زریبافی فرض کنیم، از زریبافی گرفته تا قالیبافی، اینا در طول تاریخ بعد از هخامنشی استمرار داشته، همینطور بافته می شده. منتها دوره‌های اعتلاع و رکود هم داشته.
But squares with stars, the winged lions and spotted deer are not the only clues of Iran's connection with this carpet. There are still other clues. One of the other patterns of this carpet is the image of people with their horses at a certain distance from each other. In this carving in Persepolis, there is an image of a soldier who's standing on the left side of a horse with his right hand on the back of the horse's neck. This is the exact depiction of the Pazyryk rug, where the horseman is standing on the left with his right hand on the back of the horse's neck. The method of tying up the tails of horses in this carpet is also very much similar to that of the Iranians. A similar method of tying horses' tails up can be seen in the carvings of Persepolis. In 1361 AH, a German expert named Ulrich Schurman announced in a research called The Pazyryk Carpet that this rug is likely a masterpiece of Armenian workmanship based on its knots, which are known as double knots. But this idea does not contradict the Iranian origin of this carpet. 2,400 years ago, when the Pazyryk rug was woven, Armenia was one of the satrapies of the Achaemenid Empire. and Armenians are considered one of the ancient tribes of Iran.
جغرافیای ایران بزرگ، ایران فرهنگی و اونجایی که داریم میگیم جغرافیای فرش ایران به مراتب از جغرافیای سیاسی امروز ایران به مراتب چندین برابر بزرگتر بوده. من تحلیلم این هستش که در واقع باید بگیم که اگر کسی مسلط باشه به تمامی سنت‌های بافندگی یا حالا اعمز قالی هستش، گلیم هست، به سنت‌های بافندگی ایران و تمام دقایق و ظرافت اون آگاه باشه، به جای اینکه تلاش کنیم بخوایم بگیم که حالا به این دلیل نوع گره یا چه و چه این متعلق به ایران امروز، مثلا شرق ایران، غرب ایران، میگیم این حاصل سنت تاریخی بافندگی ایرانیانه.
مطالعاتی که از همون زمان در دنیا روی فرش پذیری انجام گرفت، سرانجام به این نتیجه قطعی رسید که فرش پذیری 2450 این حدودا سال عمر داره و بافت ایران دوره هخامنشی کرد، نه بافت فقط دوره هخامنشی که ممکنه در مثلا آذربایجان شمالی بافته شده، نه فقط هم.
من این فرش رو وقتی دیدم باورم نمیشد که فرش به این ریز بافی باشید و فکر میکردم یه فرشی در حدی خیلی درشت و معمولی بافی باشه.
Pazyryk, after several years of its discovery, was known as a carpet which proved carpet weaving in Iran dates back to 1400 centuries ago. But a while later, a new discovery changed everything. In the 1350s AH, Russia transformed our knowledge of carpets in another research. The Soviet Union at the time included many republics, some of which were located in Asia and were Iran's neighbors. One of these republics, the Republic of Turkmenistan, the northeastern neighbor of Iran, was of special importance to Russian archaeologists. During the Parthian Empire, Turkmenistan was one of the places where the Parthians originated from, a historical land that had hidden great signs from the past in its heart. Igor Nikolaevich Cholpin, a Russian archaeologist, was engaged in an excavation on the outskirts of this river since 1350. His long excavation project continued until 1371 AH, 1 year after the fall of the Soviet Union. He had already come to this area in 1334 with another group for excavation. This time, however, his findings were different. He went to the Karakala settlement near the Sumba River and excavated 200 ancient tombs. What he found was a change in the knowledge of the history of carpet. In the graves, where there were female skeletons and therefore were considered to be women's graves, he found 40 spinning wheels, 12 pairs of bronze needles, 8 spindles, and 16 other tools related to wood spinning. But a special discovery was the knives that were used to polish the pile of carpet fibers. Carpet weavers used to hold these knives in their right hand to cut the extra fibers whilst weaving the carpet. These findings date back to at least 10th century BC. It means more than 6 centuries older than the Pazyryk rug. If the Pazyryk rug showed that the history of carpet weaving in Iran goes back 2,400 years ago, these findings showed carpet weaving in the Iranian plateau goes back to more than 3,000 years ago. But it was not just the discovery of the Samba Valley in Turkmenistan that changed our knowledge of the history of carpet with the discovery of weaving tools. At the same time, in Iran, a fatal accident resulted in a great change. In 1354, rain and flood in Fars province caused an ancient grave to come out from under the ancient mud. The person who discovered this ancient grave was a Qashqai man, and the location of this grave was in the northwest of Rajed, near Kamfaruz. The important point was the object that was found in this grave. Iranian linguist Ali Hassouri later obtained its specifications by examining that object, something like a bayonet but very delicate, which could not be used for striking and was probably only used for cutting. Another tool was a kind of needle called jafalduz with a round head and 45 centimeters long. These graves belonged to women, just like the ones discovered in Turkmenistan. Another strong indication of the presence of carpet weaving in the Iranian plateau. From Pazyryk in the valleys of Serbia to the Samba Valley in Turkmenistan, to Kamfaruz of Fars province in the south of Iran, traces of Iranian carpet can be found. But the ancient signs left of carpet are not limited to these. Some ancient signs are kept in the National Museum of Iran, like these carpet knotting hooks, which date back to 1300 to 800 BC, and these ancient Lauriston knotting knives from the first millennium BC. All these evidences point to the antiquity of the art of carpet weaving in Iran, an art that fortunately was not forgotten in the course of historical developments. In the Parthian era, despite the long rule of this dynasty, there are no significant documents regarding the situation of carpet weaving. However, the traces of this era can be found here. The ruins of the ancient city of Homs near Damgan. Between the years 1339 and 1349 AH, the city was subjected to extensive excavations by foreign archaeologists, which led to the discovery of this fluffy piece. This is a piece of fluffy carpet whose tufts are curly and not made of undyed wool. Although some consider this work to belong to the Parthenon era, there is also the possibility that it belongs to the Sassanid era. Today, this piece of carpet is kept in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. However, not all Sassanid carpets have been kept in the world's major museums. This picture is one of the most important documents left behind from a large Sassanid carpet. A carpet whose size and dimensions were clear, and if it was available to the public, it could increase our knowledge of the history of Iranian carpets. But this carpet was sold to a private collector for only $950,000 in an auction in London in October 2010, and now it is no longer available to us. 3 years before this sale in 2007, a semi-carbon test on the carpet showed that probably 95% this carpet was woven between 380 and 600 AD, i.e. in the second half of the Sassanid era, and with a probability of 68%, the more accurate date should be 420 to 540 AD. Except for this carpet, which was lost in the contemporary era, another famous carpet also vanished into thin air at the end of the Sassanid era. From Tak-Kashra, or Khosrow Palace, the throne of the Sassanid kings, only this facade remains, which today is located in Iraq near the city of Baghdad. This facade, which the Arabs called Ivan-e-Madain, is one of the architectural masterpieces remained from the Sassanid era. According to Muslims' historical accounts, this famous carpet of Baharistan was spread in this same facade and this same palace, and after the Arab invasion it was torn into pieces as a booty. Tabari writes in its history that the size of this carpet was 60 arsh in 60 arsh. Today's researchers say that this size is about 27 meters by 27 meters in today's measurement. Therefore, the Baharistan carpet has been an extremely large rug, that maybe until that time there were no such large carpets. This carpet was decorated with pieces of jewelry made of emerald and aquamarine. Some believe that the presence of jewels indicate that this carpet was not a knotted rug, but rather a kilim. However, a British researcher named Frederick Martin proved that a knotted carpet can also be studded with jewels. What he took as an example was this carpet. A studded carpet woven with gold in Topkapi Palace Museum of Turkey, which was woven by Ottoman artisans for more than 170 years, and the king sat on it in important ceremonies. Today, there is no trace of the great Baharistan carpet except in history books. Baharistan carpet, which is also known as Bahari Khosrow, Bahari Kasri, and winter carpet, was lost in the course of the Arab invasion of Iran. But the fame of the Sassanid carpet was reached in the farthest known lands of the time. In a Chinese almanac that recorded the events between 590 and 617 AD, woolen carpets made in Iran were mentioned as tabtan, which is probably a reference to the Persian verb taftan, meaning tufting. According to the information of this Chinese almanac, this carpet came to China as a trade item from the Sassanian land. The Chinese knew two types of Sassanid carpets: woven carpet and knotted carpet. The woven type probably referred to kilim. However, the knotted type referred to the art of carpet weaving. After the Arab conquest of Iran, the art of Iranian carpet weaving did not stop. Rather, it was combined with Islamic art on the path to progress. This monument, Al-Uqadir Fortress, or Abbasid Palace, or Al-Aqhudir, in the southwest of the holy city of Karbala, was one of the oldest residences of the Abbasid caliphs during their rule. The Abbasid caliphs used Iranian hand-woven carpets to decorate their palaces. Iranian carpets were so valuable and important during this era that every year different Iranian tribes sent 600 carpets to the Abbasid caliphs as taxes. This is a carpet belonging to the end of the 3rd century of the lunar calendar, which is kept in the San Francisco Museum of the United States, and it is the oldest knotted woven carpet in the Islamic world. This carpet was discovered in Old Cairo in 1365 AH. The style of the carpet's pattern is Iranian, and it is possible that it was woven in the northeast of Iran. After the era of the Arab caliphs' rule over Iran, several dynasties and local governments came to power in Iran. One of these governments was the Seljuk Turks, who came to Iran from Central Asia and ruled over different regions of Iran for 1.5 centuries. Residents of Tehran probably recognized the Seljuk dynasty with this monument left by the Seljuks. Togrol Tower in the city of Ray, which apart from a pigeon house, was actually a clock to show the movement of the sun in the sky. It is said that no trace of carpets has been found in Iran during the Seljuk era. But why? How is it possible that after centuries of carpet weaving, all the signs of the existence of carpets in the country suddenly disappeared in a historical era? A clear answer to this mystery has yet to be found. But another event is added to the complexity of this mystery. A small population of Buddhists live high in the plains of Tibet. Tibetan Buddhists worship in ancient temples. Tibet was occupied by China in the middle of the 20th century and is still considered a part of the People's Republic of China. At the end of the 60s AH, some pieces of carpet fell into the hands of antique dealers from these ancient Tibetan temples. Dealers took these pieces of carpet to the antique markets of Europe for sale. In Europe, prior to anything, carbon half-life tests were performed on these carpets to estimate their lifespan. The test showed that these pieces of carpets should belong to the late Seljuk era or to the early Ikhonid period. From these pieces of carpet, 2 pieces had an Iranian appearance. One of these 2 pieces of carpets was named the Faces Rug. It was said that the Faces Rug came from Azerbaijan and Zoroastrian motifs were found in it. How did an Iranian carpet with Zoroastrian motifs find its way to the Tibetan temples? Part of the answer to this question should be seen in the relationship of the Seljuk government as well as the Ilkhanid Mongol government with Central Asia and the Buddhist. It is not unlikely that this relationship was able to send this remnant of the Seljuk carpet to behind the Himalayas and the Buddhist land of Tibet. Iran has also had a history of relationship with lands farther than Tibet. Nestorian Christianity, which was the Iranian type of ancient Christianity, reached Central Asia and Mongolia through Iran. Centuries later, the Mongols invaded Iran in an alliance with the Mongol tribes who had converted to Nestorianism, just at that time when the Islamic world was engaged in battle with the Crusader Christians of Europe. In 598 AH, Genghis Khan Mongol, along with his commanders and sons, invaded Iran, and after that the most important cities of Great Khorasan, from Bukhara, Samarkand to Neyshabour, and Tus fell into the hands of the Mongols, one after the other, following massacre and plunder. In this historical period, not only carpet weave, but also the culture of art in Iran suffered a stagnation, but it was never forgotten. The second round of the Mongol attack began in 633 AH with the campaign of Hulagu, the grandson of Genghis, towards Baghdad. With the fall of Baghdad, the Abbasid Caliphate ended forever. The descendants of the Abbasids fled to Egypt and established a dynasty in exile, with the support of the Mamluks of Egypt, and considered themselves the continuation of the Abbasids of Iraq. But the truth was that Iran was now completely under the control of the Ilkhanid dynasty. The Mongol rulers who brought the entire Iran under their control, it was the first time that after centuries following Islam, the entire Iran was unified under one government, and this meant it was easier to travel between different cities of Iran. This meant blooming business, which also affected the fate of Iranian carpets. During the Ilkhanid era, Iranian carpet continued to evolve. The Ilkhans, who cared about trade, developed this industry by supporting carpet weavers so they could export Iranian carpets to other countries as a valuable commodity. Iranian carpet was exported to the west through Azerbaijan and to India via the Persian Gulf ports. The city of Mosul in Iraq was also one of the trading places of Iranian carpets. The Ilkhanid rulers welcomed this trade. Ghazan Khan, a descendant of Hulagu Khan, was the first Mongol sultan who converted to Islam and declared Islam as the official religion. After converting to Islam, he chose the name Sultan Mahmud for himself. It is said that when Ghazan Khan built a large palace in the Tabriz, he ordered the floors of its halls to be covered in large Persian carpets. Fortunately, an important and concrete document has been found from this era. This round silk woven with gold belongs to the Ilkhanid period, which was discovered in 1374 AH. Of course, it's not known where this rug was discovered and found its way to the famous David Collection Museum in Copenhagen, Denmark. Kjell van Volsak, director of the David Museum, was not sure about the origin of this rug. He presumed that this carpet was discovered somewhere in Iran or Iraq. But this doubt is strange for carpet experts, because there were clear signs that pointed to the Iranian origin of this rug. The first sign was that there was no concentrated carpet weaving workshop in Iraq during the century where the kilim was woven or earlier, let alone weaving a silk carpet with gold. The second sign of the Zarbath kiln being Iranian was that the Iraqi artworks at the time were full of Arabic inscriptions, and none of the Iraqi artworks had a method even similar to the patterns of the kiln. This is while this method is abundantly seen in Iranian artworks. For example, this round chalk tablet in the National Museum of Iran dates back to the Seljuk era, and its pattern is very much similar to the Kilim of David Museum. This brass tray inlaid with silver, which is kept in the Metropolitan Museum of Art of New York, is another example of pattern similar to the Kilim, which is almost the same age as Kilim and dates back to the end of the 7th century. In addition to these, we should also mention other signs that leads this Kilim to Iran. The rulers and princes of the Seljuk or Mongols and the Ilkhanids were depicted as such in Iranian works, kneeling on the bed, one hand holding a cup and the other hand on the knee. This image is depicted both on the round chalk tablets of the National Museum of Iran and the Kilim of the David Museum. A strong document that proves one thing along other signs. This round silk woven with gold is an example of the position of Iranian carpets in the Ilkhanid era. After the weakening of the Ilkhanids, Timur Lang, the founder of the Timurid dynasty, conquered Iran. From 748 to 783, he ruled from Samarkand to the Levant. Although during the reign of Timur Lang, less attention was paid to art. But Timur's son Shahrukh and his children were very interested in culture and art. The monument of Khorasad Mosque in the south of Imam Reza's shrine in Mashhad is the most prominent example of Timurid art in Iran today. During the reign of Shahrukh and his successors, great importance was given to carpet weaving, and the cities of Samarkand, Bukhara, Shiraz and Herat became important centers of carpet weaving in Iran during this period. In the Timurid era, due to the expansion of relations with China and the influence of Chinese design, the trend towards geometric designs with rotating and curved lines and motifs such as ivy, fan palm, clouds and legendary animals and birds became popular in Iranian carpet designs. The changes in designs also affected the weaving techniques. Double weft weaving replaced single weft weaving, because the weaving of the rotary designs required the use of two wefts in carpet weaving. Of course, the only example of a carpet from the Timurid era is in this piece of knotted carpet in the Benaki Museum of Athens in Greece, which was woven in the second half of the 8th century to the beginning of the 9th century AH. This piece of carpet with an asymmetric knot and in terms of pattern and color, similar to the silk and zarbath fabrics of Iran, belongs to the 8th and 9th centuries AH. Both time and pattern similarity prove that this piece of knotted carpet is Iranian. Another sign that ties the Benaki Museum of Athens piece of carpet to Iran is the asymmetric knot. This knot is known as Persian knot, and it also originated from Iran. However, since the absence of more carpets in this period gives very little knowledge of the designs of carpets, one of the important documents are the patterns of these carpets, because carpet patterns were painted in miniatures of those periods. During the Timurid era, great men like Kamal al-Din Behzad entered the art arena. Behzad depicted the evolution of Iranian carpet design with the fine art of miniature. Miniature is an authentic Iranian painting with many details. Behzad's miniatures can be found in both the manuscripts of Bustan Sadi, which is kept in the National Museum of Cairo, and in the Timurid Book of Conquest, Zafarnama, in the Golestan Palace Museum. Another document that displays the design of Timurid carpets is the manuscripts of Hamza Jami. The book Haft Arang is one of the famous works of Abd al-Rahman Jami, which contains 7 collections of poems in the form of Masnavi. There is a copy of this book in the Malek National Library and Museum of Astan Khudrazvi, which has 5 of the 7 collections of poems, and this is why it's called Hamza Jami. According to the image in the paintings of these documents, it can be said that there is a significant connection between carpet weaving and the painting of the Timurid era, and it is possible that the design of the rugs in Timurid era was influenced by the painting of this period. In the Safavid period, which is considered the peak of the art of carpet weaving. Fortunately, there are far more carpets that bring the carpet story to a new stage of history. The golden age of Iranian carpets. Despite the claimants who prohibit love, the beauty of your face is our justification.